time Evelyn saw the house, it looked like a place lost in time. The grand, crumbling mansion stood at the edge of Hollow Hill, surrounded by gnarled trees and mist that clung to the ground like a ghostly veil. She had come to Hollow Hill in search of solitude, hoping to escape the painful memories of her past. Her fiancé, Daniel, had died in a tragic accident months before their wedding, leaving her heart shattered. So, when she found the abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town, she saw it as the perfect place to start anew, or at least to hide. The locals warned her about the house. They spoke in hushed tones about spirits that wandered the halls, whispering to the wind, forever waiting for something or someone. But Evelyn didn't believe in ghosts. On her first night in the mansion, the house groaned and creaked as if it were breathing. The air was thick with an unspoken presence, and the candles flickered even when there was no breeze. As she wandered through the old corridors, she felt it, a whisper of cold against her skin, a chill that caressed her cheek like a lover's touch. And then she heard it, a voice soft as the wind. "You came back." Evelyn spun around, her heart hammering in her chest. But there was no one there, only the echo of those words hanging in the air. She told herself it was her imagination, just the loneliness playing tricks on her. But deep down, something inside her stirred a feeling she couldn't name, something that felt like déjà. Days passed, and the presence in the house grew stronger. She would wake up to find the fireplace lit, even though she never touched it. Books she hadn't moved would be left open on pages speaking of love and loss. And sometimes, in the reflection of a window or a mirror, she swore she saw the faint outline of a man watching her with sorrowful eyes. One night, as she stood by the balcony overlooking the misty hills, she felt it again, that cold feather-light touch against her skin. This time, she didn't run. "Who are you?" she whispered into the night. A soft sigh, like a breath from the past, brushed her ear. And then, in the silver glow of the moon, she saw him. A man stood before her, tall and dressed in old-fashioned clothes. His face was strikingly beautiful, but tinged with sadness. His eyes the color of stormy seas. He looked as real as any living man, until she saw the way the moonlight passed through him. "I have waited for you," he said, his voice a melody of longing. Evelyn's breath hitched. She should have been afraid, but something about him felt familiar. "Who are you?" she asked again, her voice trembling. He hesitated, as if the answer pained him. "My name is Adrian," he murmured. And once, long ago, Evelyn didn't understand at first. But as the days passed and Adrian appeared more often, memories began to surface. Memories that didn't belong to her. She saw glimpses of a past life, felt echoes of emotions she couldn't explain. She saw herself, dressed in a gown from another era, laughing in the arms of a man who looked exactly like Adrian. She was falling in love with him all over again. Each night, Adrian would whisper stories of their past, of how they had been lovers centuries ago, in a time when the world was different. They had promised each other forever. But fate had been cruel. He had been taken from her, accused of a crime he did not commit, and hanged beneath the very tree that still stood outside the mansion. You swore you would find me again, Adrian said one night as they sat before the fireplace, his ghostly fingers barely grazing hers. And you have. Tears slipped down Evelyn's cheeks. What does this mean? She whispered. If we were meant to be together, why are you still trapped here? Adrian looked away, pain shadowing his features. Because I never truly left. As the days turned into weeks, their love deepened. They danced in the candlelight, whispered secrets in the moonlit halls, and for losing Daniel, Evelyn felt whole. But the closer she grew to Adrian, the weaker he became. One evening, as she reached out to touch him, her hand passed right through. You're fading, she gasped. Adrian gave her a sorrowful smile. Loving you has given me peace, he murmured. And now, I think I can finally let go. Evelyn's heart clenched. No, she said, gripping his face, though she felt nothing but air. Not again. I just found you. Tears glistened in his ghostly eyes. And I will always love you in every lifetime. But this is not our time, my love. The mansion grew colder, and the candles flickered violently, as if the house itself was weeping. I will wait for you, Adrian whispered. And when we meet again, in another life, we will have our forever. Evelyn sobbed, but deep down she knew he was right. As the first rays of dawn touched the mansion, Adrian's form shimmered and slowly faded into light. And then he was gone. Epilogue. The promise of forever. Evelyn left the mansion soon after. She couldn't stay in a place so full of love and loss. But she carried Adrian with her, in her heart, in her dreams. Years later, as she walked through a busy city street, she stopped suddenly. A man stood a few feet away, staring at her as if he had just seen a ghost. His eyes, the color of stormy seas, filled with unspoken recognition. Evelyn felt her breath catch. Maybe, just maybe, love never truly died, and maybe forever was real after